let me start. I'm going to share my screen. I've never done this before, and so I don't know how long it's going to take. So I'm a little nervous about that. But other than that, I'm just going to let it go and let God and know that it's all good, whatever happens. I'm a little bit of a perfectionist, and that can hinder me sometimes. Let me see if I can play this. Here we go. So I know that you're working on the promises, and 12 promises. I can expect a miraculous change in my life by working the program of Codependents Anonymous as I make an honest effort to work the 12 steps and follow the 12 traditions. So the one that we're working on right now is number 5. I know a new love and acceptance of myself and others. I feel genuinely lovable, loving, and loved. And when he asked me to do a workshop, I was very attracted to this particular promise. And I love the affirmation. I feel genuinely lovable, loving, and loved. The Lori story. I started Codependents Anonymous in 2010. And it was quite more of my awakening to Codependents Anonymous. I actually had a universal smackdown, and I'm not sure if any of you have had a universal smackdown. A lot of times we do, where you get that 2x4 in your life and everything kind of falls apart and you find yourself on ground level. And so this is kind of what happened. Like, I started meditating and I realized that my relationships were not working. I was in a relationship for 16 years, but it was through my meditation that I started having this awareness of something was going on behind my back, and I just couldn't put my finger on it. And then when I realized that I was really living a life of lies, betrayal, and deceit, is when I had this awakening. I guess I really needed to wake up to figure out that, my friends were sleeping with my man and he was going on, all that kind of stuff, that drama. But that it's all over. And I was on a spiritual path at that time. And what I was learning, that no matter what happens in my life, I have to take responsibility for what is happening, because in some deep level, I created that. And so I was willing to take the responsibility. I wasn't quite sure how to take responsibility for what was going on. And, but I realized it was an evolutionary process that I had to work from the inside out and not from the outside in. And so when I moved to San Diego, it wasn't until like a year later I started to date. And I attracted an alcoholic in my life. And I thought to myself, now, how did I do this? Okay. I just didn't understand why I was attracting what I was attracting, but I was willing to take the responsibility. I'm willing to forgive. I'm willing to expand. I'm willing to grow. I'm willing to take the responsibility. I just don't know how. And then I asked my sister, do you know anything about Codependents Anonymous? And she said, well, why don't you go and read about the pattern? So I looked it up online and I thought, oh my goodness gracious, this is really, truly my autobiography. And so this was kind of my awakening. And when I started my journey, I was not only on a CoDA journey, but I was on a journey of ministerial training. So I was already in the journey of an evolutionary process of expanding and growing and really trying to figure it all out. And just last week, and I don't know if you ever really figure it all out. Just last week on Facebook, it was National Dance Day, and I was a professional dancer for 20 years. And in my young 20s, I had a dance partner, and we were on Star Search. And I thought, you know what? He had passed away. I'm just going to put like a couple videos of us on Facebook, and and I did, and everyone said nice things about it, but what happened is I really became triggered, which was good. It was good for me to become triggered, especially since I was doing this workshop for you, because I realized that my inner world was so sad that I really suffered. I mean, I suffered deeply as a young girl, as a professional dancer, I was bulimia. I only weighed 115 and I thought I was fat. I had this mental distortion of myself that wasn't true. I just didn't think I was good enough. And I don't know. I realize that, we all suffer, but this is what we have to transcend. This is why we're here on earth. We are here to learn as humans and to transcend this part of us and to learn how to love ourselves. And it's like, when I learn, and it's a continual thing. It's not like it happened overnight, it's like a continual thing. And when I learn to really love myself and embrace all my wounds, then I can truly be compassionate towards someone else who is suffering, and that's what I'm learning right now, and kind of what I want to share with you today. So this is the workshop that I developed especially for you. And, but I am loving it. So I really appreciate the opportunity. What to expect in today's workshop is to prepare a space that is sacred and quiet, knowing that this time is really just for you and no one else, that you can have this quality time to do inner work and outer work. And have a note paper and a pen at hand. Open your heart and your mind for introspective, creative writing, because being introspective is really important when we want to grow and expand. We have to be able to be brave enough to look at ourselves and ask ourselves, how am I showing up in the world? And how is it that I can change in order to be a more loving person towards myself and others without, that's the key, without beating ourselves up. Because it's so, I'm really hard on myself. It's really easy for me to say, oh, I did that wrong. I did that wrong. I should have done this. I should have done that. And I'm going to do this workshop today. And no matter what happens, I'm going to make it an intention that I don't get off here and beat myself up in any way, that I appreciate myself and love myself for doing this, because this is kind of a habit. Like if something doesn't go right, oh no, so this is what we have to do to ourselves. We have to be okay with loving ourselves on the journey. So there'll be 3 sections today in the workshop: lovable, loving, and loved. And I'm going to share today through parables and spiritual practices. I found a really fun book on the soul's journey and parables to learn about the soul's journey. So I'm going to share some of those. And then I have a million spiritual practices in my back pocket, and I'm going to share with you some of those. And it's just going to feed your inner and your outer journey of your spiritual growth and expansion. And I just want you to have, set an intention today. Like, if you don't like it, don't take it home with you. And if you like it, take it home with you. And if you love it, use it. Try to take at least one golden nugget. I mean, if I go to a big convention or anything I'm doing in any topic and I'm learning something new, I just try to take that one golden nugget home with me and apply it to my life. And that's all I'm asking for you to do today. You might not like some of these spiritual practices. You might like all of them. You might just maybe use one of them. So an affirmation is extremely powerful when we use it on a regular basis in our life, because it allows us to move into the subconscious mind. And the subconscious mind is really what runs our life. And this is why I loved the name of this workshop today. I am lovable, I am loving, and I am loved. And so I'm going to give you a spiritual practice, and I'll run through it a couple of times, and then we're going to do it together. And this is especially when you're feeling yourself have anxiety, or you can't sleep at night, or you're focused on the wrong things, may be on your stinking thinking, on your negative thinking, and not positive thinking. And so this would be a process for you to take with you and to practice. So the affirmation is, I am lovable, I am loving, and I am loved. And the beauty about an affirmation is that the more you say it, the more it becomes integrated within your heart, your mind, your body, your soul. And then all of a sudden you become that out into the world. So this is a practice that you can use when you feel anxious, or you can just make it a daily practice before you go to bed at night, or when you wake up in the morning, or when you have to just move your mind from negative thinking to affirmative thinking. And the keys to affirmation should be that you need to repeat it several times in succession, in a meditation, or several times during the day. You can take this while you're doing things or driving. You can say your affirmation: I am lovable, I am loving, I am loved, with deep concentration and faith in its materialization until it manifests into a reality in your life. So when to practice? Affirmations can be impressed upon the subconscious mind during certain times of the day. Like after awakening in the morning, it's a good time to practice an affirmation. Go straight into meditation. During the period of silence preceding sleep is a wonderful time to work your subconscious mind. And then during an interiorization following a meditation, and then you just wait for 5 minutes and practice your affirmation, is a great way to practice. So how to practice? I'm going to tell you how. I'm going to tell you what the practice is, and then we're going to go back and we're going to do it together. So don't feel like you have to try to do it right now. So you're just going to sit up straight with your spine straight. And then when you close your eyes, you're going to focus your gaze on the point between your eyebrows. So if you close your eyes right now and you just look at the point between your eyebrows, and don't have your chin down, don't have it way too up, just have it level. And then you know that you are looking within your third eye. Number 3, you're going to take a deep breath and you're going to tighten your whole body up. And then when it's all tight, you're going to exhale double time. So you're going to take a deep breath and tighten up, and then exhale. It's like a double breath. Take a deep breath and tighten up. Take a deep breath and tighten up. And we'll do that 3 times. And then you can relax your body and keep it motionless. And that just takes any of the stress or tension out of your body. Okay, ladies, I put this man on there for you. So then we're going to repeat our affirmation out loud. You will say, you can follow me: I am lovable, I am loving, I am loved. I am lovable, I am loving, I'm loved. We will do that for 1 minute out loud. And then I will softly, and you can follow me, say, I am lovable, I am loving, I am loved. Softly, in a soft voice. And then for another minute, we are going to say it more slowly. And then for another minute, we are going to say it in a whisper: I am lovable, I am loving, I am loved. So that will be 4 minutes. Then gradually affirm it mentally: I am lovable, I am loving, I am loved. And I will play music for 2 minutes, and you'll say this internally, not out loud, without moving the tongue or the lips, until you feel you obtain deep, unbroken concentration. Not unconscious concentration, but conscious concentration. And if you continue with your mental affirmation, I am lovable, I am loving, I am loved, you will feel a sense of increasing joy and peace. All right, here we go. So all you have to do is follow me, and this will be a 6-minute meditation, and then I'll bring you back into the room. So I invite you to sit with a straight spine, and to close your eyes and to look at your third eye, and that will be the point between your eyebrow. Now breathe in and tighten your whole body. And double breathe out. And breathe in, tighten your whole body. And double breathe out. One more time. Breathe in, tighten your whole body. and double breathe out. Continue to look at the point between your eyebrows and relax your body. Now follow me. I am lovable. I am loving. I am loved. I am lovable. I am loving. I am loved. I am lovable. I am loving. I am loved. I am lovable. I am loving. I am loved. I am lovable. I am loving. I am loved. I am lovable. I am loving. I am loved. I am lovable. I am loving. I am loved. I am lovable. I am loving. I am loved. I am lovable. I am loving. I am loved. I am lovable. I am loving. I am loved. And now a little bit softer. I am lovable. I am loving. I am loved. I am lovable. I am loving. I am loved. I am lovable. I am loving. I am loved. I am lovable. I am loving. I am loved. I am lovable. I am loving. I am loved. I am lovable. I am loving. I am loved. I am lovable. I am loving. I am loved. I am lovable. I am loving. I am loved. I am lovable. I am loving. I am loved. I am lovable. I am loving. I am loved. And now a little bit softer. I am lovable. I am loving. I am loved. I am lovable. I am loving. I am loved. I am lovable. I am loving. I am loved. I am lovable. I am loving. I am loved. I am lovable. I am loving. I am loved. I am lovable. I am loving. I am loved. I am lovable. I am loving. I am loved. I am lovable. I am loving. I am loved. I am lovable. I am loving. I am loved. I am lovable. I am loving. I am loved. And now a whisper and more slowly. I am lovable. I am loving. I am loved. I am lovable. I am loving. I am loved. I am lovable. I am loving. I am loved. I am lovable. I am loving. I am loved. I am lovable. I am loving. I am loved. I am lovable. I am loving. I am loved. I am lovable. I am loving. I am loved. I am lovable. I am loving. I am loved. I am lovable. I am loving. I am loved. I am lovable. I am loving. I am loved. I am lovable. I am loving. I am loved. And now for 2 minutes, I want you to say it silently within your own mind, and I will play a little bit of music and time it. And so I invite you just to stay where you are, stay within, as I just recognize our higher power as that essence of being lovable, loving, and loved. And just being grateful for this time together as we come together as one to recognize this power and this presence and this infinite loving light that lives within each and every person here. And knowing that even though on the material side, on the physical side, there is some suffering, on the spiritual side, that we are perfect, we are whole, we are complete, we are all that God is. We are the essence of pure love and pure light and pure wholeness. And it is through our evolutionary process that we continue to reveal the light within our own heart, our own mind, and in our own soul. I'm just grateful for each and every person who has come here today to reveal that light within themselves and to allow themselves to shine brightly out into the world with love, with compassion, with gratitude and forgiveness. And I'm grateful for this time together. I'm grateful for the invitation to be here with you at Arizona CoDA. And I just release my word into the loving law of life. And so it is. Amen. So just know that you are loved. You know, when you come out of something like that, you feel a little like, woo, you know, you're kind of in the heavens. So just kind of come out of it slowly and start moving into the world. But it is a nice thing to do, to go into a prayer after you finish your meditation, because you feel kind of intuitive and light. So in every culture, the basic principle to spiritual development is lovable, loving, and loved. And when you're lovable, you would do no harm. You would practice generosity, practice loving kindness, know thyself, and follow your highest thoughts. When you are loving, you will be aware of the effects that you have on other people. You practice gratitude and you practice forgiveness. And then when you're loved, you enter into this direct relationship with the source of life through prayer, meditation, and service. So now we're going to break it down. To lovable is to do no harm, to practice generosity, to practice loving kindness, and to know thyself, and to follow your highest thoughts. I love that, to follow your highest thoughts, which is to follow your most positive thoughts that you can about yourself and about other people. So I'm going to move on to the story. And if you can't see the slides, make sure you say something to me. So this story is a story for the soul, and it's called Meat of the Tongue. In a village lived a nobleman with his wife and daughter. They were very wealthy and were able to afford anything they desired. However, the nobleman worried because his wife was thin, weak, and unhappy. The noble noticed the wife of a poor tailor who was healthy, robust, and happy despite living in a small, cramped home with little food. The noble asked him, "What is the secret?" "Meat of the tongue," the tailor replied. "That will make your wife happy and healthy." The nobleman brought in every kind of tongue meat for his wife, but none of it worked. The nobleman was very upset and asked the tailor to swap wives for 1 month. The tailor's wife grew thin and tired, and the nobleman's wife became healthy and happy. The nobleman had failed to understand that the meat of the tongue is nourishment we get from songs sung and tales told and listened to, sweet, encouraging words that create good, and stories that can help you grow. So to be lovable is to do no harm, to practice generosity, practice loving kindness, know thyself, and follow your highest thoughts. And I think the meat of the tongue is talking about following your highest thoughts when you deal with people and within yourself. So this spiritual practice is to only whisper stories of sweet creation for yourself and for others. And down below, I use this as the theme quote by Hermes: as above, so below, as within, so without. So when we create from the spirit world in our hearts, our mind, our soul, it becomes reality in the material world. And then when we have a heart that's filled with love within us, then it becomes a reality in our life from without. So this is a time where we realize that we are responsible for what we are creating in our life by our thoughts, in our words, in our thinking. And it's an opportunity right now to look at what it is that you've been creating in your life with yourself and with others. So an example is, so sometimes I might tell myself, oh, I'm fat when I'm not, or I'm ugly when I'm not, But I'm not really saying sweet words of creation for myself. I'm telling myself negative words. So what is it? What story can you create? What lie do you tell yourself that's not true about who you are in the world? Or maybe a lie about someone else that you're telling them about themselves. I mean, this is how children are developed from a very young age, because they believe the stories that people tell them about themselves. So I'm going to give you 2 minutes. I'm going to play some music, and I'm going to ask you to just create a new story about yourself, about what you think about your physical body, or maybe your financial status, or a new story about your job or your career, or maybe about someone else in your life. So, and whisper stories of sweet creation through your writings. I'm going to give you 2 minutes. I'll play some music for you. Here we go. So I invite you to finish your spiritual practice. You can always continue it later. This is always a great practice when you're trying to manifest anything in the material world or in the spiritual world, to tell a new story about yourself or somebody else in your life. And just whisper sweet stories of creation. I had a girlfriend, and I just admired this friend so much, because she was always complimenting, like talking to me about, oh, those people are so sweet and they're so good. And she only looked at the goodness about them. And when they had something negative about them, she would say, well, that part's not really for me, but I really like how they, and then she would continue on with her stories. And because she was this person of just giving sweet creations of love to everyone. Everyone was always loving her back. It's like if everyone wants her on their team because she was a very lovable person. And when I thought about lovable, I thought about her. So I wanted to share that story with you. So here's a story called Old Joe and the Carpenter. Old man Joe lived on a farm all by himself. Matter of fact, he had a neighbor, and they have been neighbors for almost 40 years. They both had families, and the kids grew up on their farms, and the kids went away, and they both had wives, and both of their wives passed away. And really, the only thing they had was each other. They were really good friends. However, one day there was a calf that was on old Joe's neighbor's yard. And old Joe said, "Oh yeah, that's my calf." The marking on the calf has the same marking as the cows in the barn. And the neighbor said, "Oh no, that's not your calf. That's my calf." So instead of getting into a fist fight and fighting over it, they decide that they weren't going to talk to each other, and they went their separate ways, and they destroyed the relationship that they had for many years. And then there was a knock at the door, and it was a young carpenter. And he said, "Well, I'm a traveling carpenter, and I'm just looking for work. Do you have any work for me?" And old man Joe said, I certainly do have work for you." He took him outside. He said, "You see that barn next door? That's my neighbor's barn. Well, there's a pond up there on the top of the road. And my neighbor took his plow, and he plowed a trench from the pond all the way across our property to divide my property from his. And I don't even want to look at him anymore. And I never want to see his property again. So what I would like you to do is to build a fence. Build a fence between the two properties so we never have to speak each other, or we never have to look at each other again." So the carpenter, the next morning, went into the barn, and he had all the wood and all the nails, all the hammer, all the saws, everything he needed between him and the farmer, and he started working. And then the farmer got in his truck, and he decided to leave for the day while the handyman was doing his job. Now, when the farmer came back, he looked at what was going on, and he realized that he did not build a fence. He built a bridge. And as he was getting out of the truck, his neighbor was walking across the bridge, and his hand was reached out and said, "I'm really glad you built that bridge, my friend. I'm really sorry. Hey, that calf is yours. Our friendship means more than that calf." And the farmer was like, no, you keep that calf. I don't need that calf. Our friendship means more to me. And so this carpenter built a bridge instead of a fence. And these two neighbors became friends. Now, they asked the carpenter if he would stay because they had a lot more work for him to do between the two farms. But he said, "Nope, I've got many more bridges to build." So I always ask myself after I read the story, am I building a bridge or am I building a fence? Choose one relationship that you would like to heal with yourself or with another person. And ask yourself, are you building a bridge or you're building a fence? Because even with ourselves, we might not allow ourselves to have certain things in our life, maybe a loving relationship or a really good paying job. We're building a fence because we might not think we deserve it. Or we might have friendships that our egos got in the way, and we're not friends with them today, not because we don't love them, because our ego is too big to say, "Hey, I'm sorry. I wish I would have built the bridge instead of the fence." So gratitude, loving kindness, compassion, and forgiveness. These are the bridges that build relationships with ourselves and with other people. And this is very lovable. So here's your spiritual practice. as you see them holding the globe with the paintbrush in hand, that we are the creators of our own reality. As above, so below, as within, so without. And a lot of times we create situations in our life because we're unconscious or we're just ignorant and we don't realize we're doing it. But then when we realize what happened, like, oh my God, how did I create this? How do I uncreate this? We have to create a new reality. And a new reality can definitely be created. A lot of times the best way to heal a relationship or heal a reality is through gratitude, because it's in gratitude that we release a resistance towards somebody else and we change our attitude towards them or towards ourselves through our thoughts, our feelings, and our emotions. And I know one thing that I had practiced years ago is that I wrote one gratitude letter for 30 days. And I wrote it to different people in my lives. And I wouldn't recommend sending them out, especially if you're in the middle of healing your codependency. But I would write a letter every single day. And then by the end of the 30 day, you just feel so connected to all of life. And you feel connected to your higher power. And you feel connected to everyone around you because you've released anything negative and you're only feeling grateful for everyone. So I'm going to invite you now to write a gratitude letter. And this gratitude letter can be towards yourself or it can be toward another person. Here's like an example. I would say, like, dear Lori, I am grateful for, and I said 1, 2, 3, and 4 things that I'm grateful for myself. And I know you're doing the best. I accept you and appreciate you just the way you are, just loving you the way you are. Signed, Lori. And that would be a loving letter to myself. So I'm going to play music for 2 minutes. And I'm going to invite you to write a letter either towards yourself or to somebody else where you need to heal a relationship. All right, so now what we're going to do is we're going to share from the heart and we're going to listen with compassion. So each person will have 2 minutes to share in your group, and you can share the letter you wrote, or you can share anything you like about building bridges or building walls in a relationship with yourself or with another. Okay. So we're going to go on to loving, to be aware of the effects of your actions, to practice gratitude, which we already did, and to practice forgiveness. Holy man in the ditch. Once a holy man and his student were walking down a long, quiet road. Suddenly, they saw dust rising in the distance. A fine carriage pulled by horses approached at full gallop. The men soon realized that this carriage was not going to slow down or veer to avoid them. In fact, it was coming upon them at such speed that they had to throw themselves from the road, landing quite unceremoniously in a ditch. The two men got up as quickly as they could and looked back at the carriage as it sped by. The student thought to curse, but not before the teacher ran after them, calling, "May all your deepest desires be satisfied." Why would you wish something so good for those men? The student asked. They just forced us into a ditch. We could have been hurt. Do you really think, replied the teacher, that if their deepest desires were satisfied, that they would go around treating others like they treated us? What experience have you had in your life where someone did something to you that was unethical, and instead of blessing them, your reaction was that you wanted revenge? Do you think they would have done what they did if their deepest desires were satisfied? To be loving, to be aware of the effects of your actions, to practice gratitude, and to practice forgiveness. Spiritual practice, to forgive. May all your deepest desires come true. As above, so below, as within, so without. You know, this is a different twist on forgiveness or how to deal with someone who has betrayed you. But if you really, really think about it, like I just had maybe a month ago, something to do with a contractor around money. And I believe there was some betrayal there. But what I realized that if his deepest desires came true, this never would have happened. Or if I thought about my girlfriends, you know, when I was younger and they were sleeping with my boyfriend, and if I really, really thought about it, if their deepest desire came true, that never would have happened. It is just a twist and a new perspective on what happens when people do something to you, that they're functioning in an unconscious level. But if their life was completely fulfilled, they probably never would have done that. And can we, as wanting to be loving and towards other people, wish them good when they have done us wrong? So I'm going to play music for 2 minutes, and I'm going to allow you to write about that for 2 minutes. Thank you. All right, we're going to move forward. I only have a half hour. I have to get it through everything because that's the way I am. Okay, so this is another story about the holy man's purse. I love these pictures. Sometimes people would make fun of the holy man and curse him out loud, but that he would always answer back with prayers in their name. On one occasion, his disciples asked him how he could not be angry and want to curse those people. They asked him how he could pray for those who had harmed him. The holy man answered them by saying that he could only spend what he had in his purse. Wow. He could only spend what he had in his purse. The holy man responds to the action of the protagonist with vision and compassion. His student's response is ruled by his ego. Do you recall a story when your response was ruled by vision and compassion? Notice what is in your purse as you go about this week. Try carrying only love and see how that affects what you give to others. When things happen to annoy or upset you, try answering the way the holy man would. So this is a spiritual practice, and it's on self-love contemplation that I thought would be perfect for this workshop. And there's 4 phrases to it, but let me just go through the phrases, then I'll teach you the practice. The first phrase is, may I be peaceful and happy and light in mind and body. How can happiness be possible if we are not peaceful and light in body and mind? If we don't feel peaceful, how can we be happy? May I be safe and free from accidents. Say to yourself, I want to be protected. I want to be safe. This will bring peace and lightness into the body and mind. May I be free from anger. When I am angry, I'm not happy. I want to be free from unwholesome states of mind. When I am angry, I'm not happy. I want to be free from unwholesome states of mind. And may I know how to look at myself with eyes of understanding and love. To look at others with compassion, we first need to be able to look at ourselves with compassion. And once we accept ourselves, we suffer less. And we also help other people to suffer less. So this is a Zen contemplation. And what we do is we read one phrase. There's 4 phrases here. And then you contemplate that phrase or say it over and over, in your mind, like almost like an affirmation, but contemplate it, what it's telling you. And we're going to contemplate each phrase for 30 seconds. That's it. And then, but you could take this, if you screenshot this, you could take this home with you and work with it even longer. So the first phrase is, may I be peaceful and happy and light in body and mind. May I be peaceful and happy and light in body and mind. And I invite you just to close your eyes and to think about that phrase. And when you forget it, open your eyes and read it again. The second phrase is, may I be safe and free from accidents. May I be safe and free from accidents. And so I invite you to contemplate this for 30 seconds. And the fourth phrase is, may I know how to look at myself with eyes of understanding and love. May I know how to look at myself with eyes of understanding and love. All right, so we're going to continue to move forward, and that was the self-love contemplation. This is a beautiful practice that you can practice anytime, morning, noon, and night. And so another loving practice, one more spiritual practice I threw in there was random acts of kindness that you can perform during the day to humanity. I remember going to Disneyland years ago on my birthday, and I was with my boyfriend, and there was a motorcycle behind me, and he zoomed past us and cut us off. And we're all trying to, pay for our parking so we can get into Disneyland and have a good time. And my boyfriend's very competitive, and that made him really, really angry. He wanted to get out and start a fight. And I'm like, you know what? It's my birthday. Why don't we just let it go? No big deal. So the guy went up to the window, and he actually paid for our parking. We went up to the window. They said, that motorcycle paid for your parking. I was like, oh my God, it was my birthday. It was such a random act of kindness that we didn't expect to happen. And so I know that I heard a story about a lady that worked at McDonald's, and someone came to the window and paid for somebody's McDonald's behind them. And the people came to the window and said, well, your McDonald's has been paid for already. They were so surprised. They couldn't believe it that they paid for somebody behind them. And then it became contagious that this continued on and on for 6 hours of everyone paying for somebody else's McDonald's as a random act of kindness. So I'm just going to hear from you now. We don't want to spend too much time on it because we still have to go through loved. And maybe 3 people tell us of a random act of kindness that either you did or you experienced or you witnessed. All right, I'm going to go back to share because, I'm going to want to finish my slides. So loved. Enter direct relationship with the source of life through prayer, meditation, and service. So when we're in service, we know that we're in service to our higher power, and it is a feeling of great joy that overcomes us because our focus is no longer on ourselves. Our focus is on somebody else. And, have you ever heard of like the Susan G. Komen, like someone lost somebody of cancer and they opened up a foundation, or someone lost somebody, like MAD, Mothers of Drunk Driving, lost their child. So they opened up a foundation of some sort. Like, you never really want to be one of those person with something so traumatic you feel that had happened to you that you wanted to be of service to humanity. But something kind of like that happened to me recently. And I was talking, when I was in my breakout room, I talked to a girl that lost her father of COVID. And I lost my mother in October of COVID-19. And it was really, a traumatic experience because I thought she was going to live well into her 90s. She was only 82 because my grandmother lived into her 90s. And what happened, I normally tithe to a charity that gives money to starving children in India. And I decided in October that I was going to send them like $1,700. Just out of the blue, I'm going to send you guys $1,700. And I wrote a little note. This is because my mother passed away of COVID. In honor of my mother, I'm sending you this money. And so I received a phone call from them saying that you sent us enough money to build a well in a remote part of India where they do not have clean water. They have to get their water from dirty ponds, and that's why they have disease and illness in their village. And so they sent me the building of the well. They sent me these pictures, and you can see that these people don't have any shoes on. I don't think OSHA's over there. And they drilled the well. I have pictures of drilling, but this is not here. And they built the well. And I wanted there to be an Indian saint. I wanted there to be a quote from an Indian saint, so they would go there and they could read the quote and be spiritually fulfilled and have clean water. And they did a big inauguration. But then when I saw the well, I realized that they can't really read English. And so I had a little divine discontent because I had this desire to express this in a bigger way. But I know that this well is giving these people living water right now, and they're also giving these people living water in future generations. So then what happened is that I had a girlfriend that passed away. And she was in one of my classes, actually. And so I decided to purchase another well, but I wanted it to be called a gratitude well. And then in Hindi, it says, my cup runneth over, my cup runneth over with gratitude in memory of Susie Sherry. And this is the clean water. And my heart was so open. I just felt like I was one with all of life. And because I did this, it's like other people started building, building wells. They're saying, Lori, can you get me one? Or Lori, can you get me one? And so now I represent this company for wells for people who would like to purchase a memorial well. And this is bigger than I ever imagined it would be. But what really comes to me is my heart is so open and my heart is so filled with love. So being at one with God and feeling loved by the universe. Yeah, I feel like the universe is smiling, like there's a big smile. And even though I lost my mother, I'm in great mourning right now. I feel like there's a big smile around me. And so what is your spiritual practice? Like, what are you giving to the world of your time, your talent, and your treasure? Are we giving back to the world where we feel that we are living in a state of gratitude and oneness? And I'm only going to give you a minute to share on this because I have a couple more things I want to share. So 1 minute to do some writing around how you're giving back, either the time or the gifts, your talents, or your treasures. Okay, so we're going to move on. Oh, okay. So I forgot about this one. What I'm contemplating is perhaps doing a 501c3 myself and being of service in a greater way. And if I did this, I would name it after the Golden Key. And the Golden Key is a spiritual practice by Emmett Fox. I actually got a Golden Key book from an intergroup, Houston Intergroup, is aa.houston.org. And the spiritual practice of the Golden Key is to stop thinking about the difficulty, whatever it is, and think about God instead. If you don't want to use the word God, then you can use the higher power. So one time and the reason why I love the Golden Key is because I used it so many times. Like when you're having a resistance in a situation, when you want someone to do something, they're not doing what you want them to do. If you can just turn your head away from them and think about God instead, it releases the resistance and you end up getting what you want. I was pulled over by a police officer off the 101 there, and he took my license and he went back to his motorcycle and to check me out. And you know what you're thinking when you get pulled over by a cop? Oh my God, I gotta go to school, traffic school. They're gonna give me a traffic ticket, and it's gonna, my insurance is gonna be next. I mean, everything. Your whole emotion is getting crazy. But I thought, you know what? I'm not going to think about anything. I'm just going to think about God instead. I'm going to totally turn my head away from this and think about how loving God is and how good God is in my life and all the gifts that God has given me in my life and all the gratitude that I have for God in my life. And then the police officer came back to the window and he looked at me. He said, "Ma'am, I'm just giving you a warning, but next time I'm going to give you a ticket. So you better slow down." So this practice works, the golden key. Think about God instead. It's by Emmett Fox. You can get it, actually find it on the internet. So I wanted to share that with you, and we're going to move on. So here's my last big story. Once upon a time, when the earth was new, the creator decided she wanted to play a game of hide and seek. It was about the same time the creator's angels were having a meeting. They were afraid people would try to kidnap or monopolize. And so they decided she had to be hidden in a safe space where all people would be able to find her if they searched. But where no one could own her exclusively. So they sent out angel scouts to find the perfect place. They looked deep into the woods. They looked for a place high in the mountains. They searched for a place under the deep blue sea. Meanwhile, the creator had already found her hiding place, the safest, fairest, and the warmest place to hide, yet the most difficult to find, inside each and every human heart. So every day, spend time in silence with your creator, just sitting and being in nature, or a meditation walk, or silent meditation. Just be with your higher power so you can develop those listening skills. And take time daily to create a relationship with your higher power. In the language of your own heart, ask for divine guidance to assist you in all areas of your life. And end with a prayer for others. As above, so below, and as within, so without. Like really, truly have a prayer and meditation practice. You can do the I am lovable, I am loving, I am loved meditation. You can move into a prayer. And then don't forget this one universal quality of God. Ask and ye shall receive, seek and ye shall find, and knock and the door will be answered. Even though it is a Bible verse from Matthew, it is actually a universal law that anytime that you ask God for a question, or you ask for directions, or you ask for what you need to do next, you're always going to get an answer. And when you spend these times in silence, you open these pockets in your mind. You're not sure how you're going to get the answer or when. It could be from a friend that calls you and tells you something. You're like, oh my God, that's the answer to the question that I asked God this morning. Or you might do a God shot in a book, open a book up and wow, you read something and there's the answer to what I was looking for. Or it could be a moment when you're driving in the car and all of a sudden the answer is downloaded into your mind. Ask and ye shall receive, seek and ye shall find, knock and the door will be answered. It's up to you to have this relationship with your higher power. And also pray for world peace. Pray for Ukraine, pray for Russia, pray for our world as it is today. A nice Sufi prayer that I like to use is, may all beings be well and happy. May all beings be free from strife. May all beings return to love, peace on earth forevermore. So I'm just going to invite you to put your hands together in prayer and to say this after me. May all beings be well and happy. May all beings be free from strife. May all beings return to love, peace on earth forevermore. I know a new love and acceptance of myself and others. I feel genuinely lovable, loving, and loved. I'm going to do a quick review of the spiritual practices. I won't go through them, but if you want to do screenshots, go ahead. Spiritual practice review. You have the meditation, I am lovable, loving, and loved. You start saying it aloud and then softly and softer until it becomes an inner saying within your own mental mind. Only whisper stories of sweet creations for yourself and others. Ignorance is the blame of unconscious creations. Consciously create a new reality. Gratitude releases resistance and changes your attitude towards others through your thoughts, feelings, and emotions. Writing a gratitude letter about yourself or to another person. Spiritual practice of forgiveness. May all your deepest desires come true. Self-love contemplation. May I be peaceful and happy, enlightened body and mind. May I be safe and free from accidents. May I be free from anger. May I know how to look at myself with eyes of understanding and love. Commit random acts of kindness. Be of service. Give your time, talent, and treasure. Practice the golden key when you get into sticky situations and think about your higher power instead. And have a relationship with your higher power. Take time daily to create a relationship. In the language of your own heart, ask for divine guidance to assist you in all areas of your life, and end with prayers for others. Ask and ye shall receive, seek and ye shall find, and knock and the door will be answered. And pray for world peace. I know a new love and acceptance of myself and others. I feel genuinely lovable, loving, and loved. I know I put a lot on you at the end, but you can always email me at lorimac7777@gmail.com, and I can send you the slides if you wish. And so it is.